All right, you are now tuned into the Rotated Views podcast. I am your host, Jimmylee Velez. I am here with Gabe, Goose, and Heck. Summertime part 2. In this episode, the crew dives into everything summertime. We cover topics that range from traditions, holidays, vacations, childhood memories, being on summer breaks from school, and much more. We wrap the episode up with quotes from John Lubbock and Tom Hodgkinson. Guys, if you're new, thank you for joining us. Don't forget to download and subscribe. We drop a new episode every Tuesday morning for your listening pleasure. Kicking things off, gentlemen. Episode 99. Woo!
That's awesome.
299.
Yeah, we've been at it.
Yeah.
Kind of wild. All right, so obviously summertime for us is, well, for me at least, it's an amazing time of the year. And we did an update back, not even an update, we did a show called Summertime back in episode number 66. So back in 2016. Isn't that funny?
Dang.
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
Had one, and so this is just basically an update. One of my kids weren't even born at that time, so it's kind of crazy to say out loud. Anyway, so we'll just do like a fun little update, kind of hang loose, and let's just jump right into it.
Yeah.
So right at the top, we're gonna go right off the horn, starting with Goose. Summer. What are your initial thoughts?
Summer.
What do you think of summer? What do you think?
Well, first, hot weather, of course.
Yeah.
Get the hot weather. Dude, relaxation, really. Like it's just like for us, it's like, I mean, we gather more in the summer, but I mean, for us, we gather often, but in the summertime, it's more like a weekend kind of thing. What's going on? Where you at? Blah, blah. More barbecues, so everyone hangs out. Kids are at home. I know now this summer my daughter has a job, so she'll be busy instead of sitting at home. Not that she sits at home, but yeah, she'll be working this whole summer. Vacations. Got a couple of vacations lined up. I mean, that's pretty much it. Like that's other than that, my summer, my job, I still continue. My job doesn't change. Now, like I'm a school teacher. We have the summer off. Or it goes down at any point. My job still does. It's just as busy as it is all year long. So
yeah,
I got to make it a point for myself to take those vacations. But yeah,
awesome. All right, Heck. What about you, Summer? What are your initial thoughts?
Summertime.
Detailed stuff. Just initial thoughts.
Summertime. Yeah, basically my house gets crazy in summertime. We get I build a pool every year. Like Goose said, hanging out with the family more frequent than ever throughout the year because it's summertime. It's especially for Jim and I, we live down the street from each other, which is a plus. Man, just like today was a perfect summer day. I cut the grass, had my quad out, I looked at it and took it for a spin around the section and just splashed in some mud just to have fun. And that's your summer afternoons. I mean, that's pretty much what I do. Let the kids go swimming. They just got out. We try to do, little vacations here and there with them and let them enjoy as much as they can.
Awesome. Gabe, what about you, man? Summertime, initial thoughts.
So I always think like, I suppose I was usually younger. It's like, you think like, it's off of school, going to the beach or something, just the heat is like the biggest thing. It's like sweating your behind off.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, I think same. I think of several getaways to go to, hanging out with family. The weather, obviously, we live in Pennsylvania, so we get all 4 seasons. So I think every season there's something to look forward to, and summer brings us and provides us the heat, which I love. Yeah, man, I just think of the kid, like in my current situation, I think of the kids being off from school. And I on some level, live through them with their, I get so excited for them. it's just exciting, fun times for us. It's always I think of happiness because my birthday's in the summer, Father's Day is in the summer. It's just fun times. You got the 4th of July, some things to celebrate.
Dude, also it stays lighter later.
Correct.
The sun stays out like 8 o'clock. The sun's still out, so I usually get out of work at 30. So there's like time to do stuff if you have to get stuff done, like if you need sunlight, or it just I don't know. It just brings like a little bit more like enjoyment of for me walking out of work, and it's still daylight. So
yeah,
me and like advantage of it. Sometimes we'll ride our bikes, have dinner and then still ride bike, go around the town. But yeah, that's another thing that reminds me of summer is that long days, those long sunny days.
Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, again, as I stated earlier, we live in Pennsylvania, so there's nights into wintertime, late December into January, where you go into work. Well, I drive into work, it's dark, and I leave work, and it's dark out already.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah.
Daylight is very limited. So, yeah, driving home and it's still sunny, and getting home and having the ability to, park the car, change clothes, and have a baseball catch or go for a walk with the boys. It's special. You almost feel like lucky you have some extra hours in the day.
Yeah.
All right. So what are some of your fondest childhood memories of summertime? So when you think back when you're a kid, it doesn't really matter the era or, the age bracket, just more of, maybe some of the initial things you think of when you think of summertime as a kid.
Mine was, so every year we would go to Wildwood as a family, and we would go with our Aunt Laura and Ruben. So we would go with another family, go down to Wildwood. We would, in those times, we would rent a motel. Motels, they existed then. So we would stay in a motel. But I remember being like 15 years old and like having a job. So I was like landscaping, helping like one of the landscapers, and just saving up money just to go to Wildwood so we can play like with my own money. I can play the games on the boardwalk. They had like the boardwalk mall. I remember going to the boardwalk mall, buying like new baseball hats, just buying my own like nonsense that I didn't have to ask my parents for or beg them. Can I play this game or can I do this? I just remember like just stacking up money, like my own. I mean, probably wasn't much, but it was like I could do my own because I worked for it, so I can buy my own stuff. But I just remember just like hanging out with like them, our family, like aunt, uncles and stuff. We're our cousins that are like same age as us, and like at the time you don't realize you're like, oh yeah, we're here. My dad would bring our bikes and we would just ride around. But like now, like thinking back, like those were dope times. I feel like we did take advantage of that when we did it, but like now I'm like, dude, we probably did a little bit more just to capture more memories, even though we probably maximize memories. But yeah, just like think about it, like we stayed in motels. Like now they don't even exist. Like they just knock those things down and build like beautiful hotels or $1 million homes. But like those are just memories that like I can go down to Wildwood with my daughter and be like, yeah, that big house, there used to be a motel we stayed at. Like, it's like just reflecting back on when we were kids.
Yeah.
Like, one of my favorite like things, like when we went, we would go there every year, and it was just like a weekend type thing. It wasn't like long, but those were just, I don't know, one of them.
Yeah, me is Sundays, excuse me, when we get out of church in the summertime, it'll still be daylight. Our parents, once again, hanging out with my dad's sister Laura and Ruben, our uncle Ruben, and we would go for bike rides. We'll go to Mercer County Park and we'll get out of church at like 4 o'clock or so, and we'll go for a bike ride and we'll get home at nighttime from being out in the trails and just hitting up everything possible, skipping rocks in the lake to just cooking out or just spend the rest of the afternoon there. Just like it was always, and that happened frequent, at least once or twice a month in the summertime. That we would just go out there and ride our bikes and go out and have fun. Like no worries in the world. And we went into the trails. We would find new trails and just have a good old time.
Love it. Gabe, what about you?
So far, so like we always used to like pretty much right as like school ended, we used to always, my mom, my sister used to go visit my aunt down in Virginia, and we always wound up having like an outing, whatever they're not like usually for a whole week, whatever. We'll go to like a theme park. We'll go just hang out down there, just visit, visiting with them. Or usually we took like trips. Like we'll go to like, we took one to like, what's that called? Like the Colonial, like Virginia, whatever it was. We did like stuff like that. We went to like Busch Gardens.
Williamsburg?
Yes.
Williamsburg?
Yeah, did like
Busch
little trips
Gardens.
there. It was like all kinds of like random events and stuff too. But like little stuff there. Or ever so often we'll actually go to a trip to to Florida, visit my grandparents, and my aunt lived at that time. They actually lived literally down the street from each other. So it was like if we stayed in my grandparents' house, my aunt and uncle were right down the street, like literally like a half a block away. So it was like it made it the easiest, most convenient. And obviously there's tons of, they live right near Orlando, so it was like easy to do like the theme parks and stuff down there too. So it was like it made a big event of like the whole family pretty much getting together, and there's a just having a good like couple weeks together.
Love it. Yeah, man. That's to tack on to Goose and Heck. Obviously, we're brothers, so we had same experiences when it's down to the Jersey Shore, then the after the church thing. But another one was actually driving down to Florida. In the vehicles and everyone jumping in and getting your like how excited we were when we first started, and like an hour in, everyone's already sleeping and knocked out and bored. Yeah. That was like part of it, right? And then we would stop at south of the border, make a couple pit stops, and just honestly, truly, my dad. One thing he did was teach us to take in and enjoy the journey. And what I mean by that is, when we went to Florida, we went, we went into particular ways, but he would always point out things and like, oh, check out this farm, or look at this building structure, look at this, historical location, whatever. He'd point a lot of things out, but it was part of the journey. Like every part of even getting gas, he made it fun or made it like a mini adventure. All right, like this pit stop, we're only getting drinks. Like no one's stopped. We're not stopping to get food. We're just using the back. Right, like that. And then like when we would make it to like south of the border, like everything, he made everything like an adventure, but it goes back to enjoying the journey. Even going down to like during the summer, going down to Wildwood, we took like the longest route ever. It would take us like 3 hours to get there, but it was the same thing. He enjoyed he loved the back roads, loved like the country, the scenic routes, and it just it was just kind of like the parallels to actual life is kind of amazing when you think about it. Like he truly enjoyed the journey, and so anyone who knew my dad knew that he was just a very happy person. And just he made everything he did. He just made it exciting, even if it probably wasn't like driving for 18 hours in a van full of kids. Like he still made it fun. And they were always just making up jokes or coming up with themes. Every trip had like a theme. Like we had like an inside joke or something like that, or a funny word we would say for the whole trip. And, we'd talk about it, months afterwards. But outside of that, I do think about, hanging out with my friends, probably like my teenage-ish years, probably like from 13 to 15, that was very crucial for me. I met one of my good friends, Evan, during that time. And we both just, I don't know what it was, man. We hung out every single day. Just think about playing baseball and basketball and football in like the blistering heat. And just still somehow looking forward to that every single day. But going back to Goose's point and saying that, we truly did. I felt that we like milked it for every, minute. I felt like I truly enjoyed the summer days off from school. And it's just, I don't know. I just think of happy times when I think of summer.
Dude, Jim, going back to like your trips, this was before like anyone had GPS or MapQuest.
Oh yeah.
Big old map, like on the dash, and my mom was holding it and he's following the map. And he had like the trail, like the path that he was going, highlighted and like 2 different color markers. Like if there was traffic, he had a plan B and did it with another lighter color. And like, dude, it was like, think about like how annoying that was. Like he's driving, bunch of kids in the back, we're goofing around or complaining about stuff, and he's trying to figure out how this. He's just on a highway, just following this paper, hoping it's the right way. Like, dude,
Well, I remember my mom,
That's
like when
right.
we used to drive to Virginia, my mom had like the original directions that was written down for her to get to Virginia. It was like in the glove compartment the whole time. Every year we pulled it out and it was like tattered, and like we still followed them for years, but it was before GPS or anything. We just had to know directions. We recognized it as we went along the way, since we made a trip at least once a year. So
Yeah. Yep.
just funny. It's like you always forget about like the before, like even like MapQuest and all that stuff, whatever.
Even MapQuest at the time, MapQuest was like, yo, you're still reading directions on a piece of paper.
Yes. You're going 0.2 miles this way and all that stuff, whatever.
It was simplified, yeah, but like now you just pop something in. This lady talks to you as you're driving. Turn in.
Yes, exactly.
All right. So what about when you think about summertime? What about some traditions? Car shows, picnics, theme parks, bike rides, hairstyles. You think of it?
When we were younger, my grandfather, my uncles, and my pops used to work at a plant, and every year I would always look forward to going to Dorney Park because they would get season or free passes for the family, and it was an all-day event. We would go to Weda's house, our grandmother's house, grandfather's house, and everyone will meet up there to drive to Allentown, which is probably like a 45-minute ride to an hour, to go out there to spend the entire day with the family and everyone, like all their coworkers, and we would just go out there. It was food included, and it was like one of those things, dude. To me, that was like just every time I see Dorney Park, it's so nostalgic to me. I'm just like, yeah, this is like my childhood. This is the first amusement park that I actually really went to was Dorney Park, and that I remember anyway, because I could have gone to other ones, but I don't recall. But yeah, dude, that was just like a summer thing. Like, it was always sometime in July that we would go because it was scorching hot.
I would say it's probably the hottest time to go.
Yeah.
But I remember we used to like do something like my parents was obviously separate. But like there was always one week when my dad took us for like the whole weekend. One of the days was always we went to Dorney Park, and usually like it was at either three of us, me and my dad, and my sister, or like my uncle and my cousin used to come sometimes. But it was like Dorney Park was always at least one of the days of like that whole week of it, just going down there and just like you said, scorching out in the heat. At least for the first part when you went to the water park, and then we eventually transitioned into the red dry park. But
main park, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome. There was, that same group of people, my aunt and uncle, we would do the same thing with Six Flags, and we would go at least once a year. We would go with them in that group, and it's same exact thing. Man. I remember we'd be packing our lunch and stepping out of the park for our lunch break, and
God, yeah,
like almost like tailgating at the time.
Yeah.
And even that was like something fun to look forward to. I don't know why, man. Like I said, I got to be honest, very humbling. But it was like, I have nothing but fond memories of those. Like we made everything. I felt like, well, anyway, I should say my dad, we kind of followed the lead, and my parents, everything felt like an adventure. Like he made even like, all right, we're going to go to a parking lot. We're going to eat our sandwiches. Like even that felt fun. And like, like if you guys think about it, right? Like even walking out, just joking around and just having fun. We're going to the parking lot to eat like hot turkey and cheese sandwiches or whatever it was. And somehow we just had a blast doing it. But Six Flags was definitely one of the spots, as well as there's a lake in New Jersey that I don't know the official name of it. Because the water looked like iced tea, and that was it was with the same group of people. We did the same exact thing. We packed ham and cheese sandwiches, turkey and cheese sandwiches, hung out. It was a beach. They had it's a lake, but they like kind of set it up, like the man-made beach portion of it. And we just, that was very basic. There was nothing crazy to that. That was just straight up a beach/lake section, and we just enjoyed it for the day. We had absolute fun building sand castles or swimming and running out, see how far we can go in the deep end.
Yeah.
Like but it felt like it was always an adventure. Even that felt like far away. I think that's even almost like an hour away from here.
Yeah, yeah.
But do you guys remember that?
Yeah, heck
Yeah,
yeah.
oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Hachi Lake.
Yeah, and then another one was I thought of bike rides when I said it out loud. We used to go to, Heck mentioned it earlier, but there was a park called Mercer County Park, and same group of people. They made it a thing. We went there probably 2, 3, maybe even 4 times a year. But 3 of those times were definitely somewhere in the summer there. And we would camp out. It would be one of those things where it's kind of like in the area. I don't know how it's set up now, but it was like a first, outside of the gazebo things, it was like a first come, first serve. So like what area you wanted, the park was kind of cool the way it was set up. They had little areas with like grills and everything like set up for you in sections. It was on a first come, first serve basis though. Like you couldn't reserve it. Again, the only thing you could reserve was probably like the gazebo. And that was it. Outside of that, so I remember waking up, early as anything in the morning and, just jumping in the truck with my dad. We had the truck already loaded up and meeting my Uncle Ruben down there. He jumping, his stuff, and the moms and everyone else would meet us later on. But again, we played like wiffle ball, volleyball, badminton was a big one. Horseshoes was another big one. And hanging out on the hammocks, we set it all up. I mean, just an absolute blast. And the old school like radios where you put in like 500 D batteries in it for it to work all long. You know what I mean? Playing Spanish music, just man, really enjoying ourselves. You guys, obviously, you guys remember that.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. The good times. I remember. Well, we're talking about good times, but I remember being like at school. Obviously, I mean. I never, we did whatever. I was never like the A student, so I was like, I just hope I don't go to summer school this year. I don't want to ruin anyone's vacation. I remember, I was asking my heck, yeah, but like that was always like I wasn't in no, I wasn't never gonna fail. I just was like, what if I fail my final? Like you have final exams. God, what if I fail my final exams and bring my GPA down and I can't pass? Like those are my little worries, but like. As soon as I passed, like got your report card, because back then you have paper report card, you get it. Yeah. Like, yes, I passed the 6th grade, 7th grade, and hand that. And I'm like, all right, my summer started. And I was like, that's a like, all right, now I have to start all over. I don't have to worry about school until 2 months later. Like, dude, and it's true. Like as a kid, I worried about that stuff. Like worried about like schoolwork because I wasn't like the most studious person, but like I worked hard at trying to like pass, just get decent grades to pass. And until I got my report card, it was like, all right, I'm good. Even though I knew my grades were good, I was like, all right, I'm good. Now my summer started. And so our parents worked, right? So we would stay home. It'd be all 3 of us. And like the only place like during the day we were allowed to like go to was like our family's house. So we would ride our bikes to my grandmom's house. Like we lived in Bristol Borough. She lived on the other side of Bristol Borough. So we would ride our bikes there. And she would make us lunch. Like we would go there, make us lunch. Then we would stop at our cousin Vicky's house. And they had a pool. So we jumped there to freaking go swimming throughout the day. And then we just had to be home by the time our parents got home by like 5 o'clock. Like try and map out our day or whatever. Go to Manny's house. They had a pool. Ride our bikes there and like hang out there. And then come home by 5 o'clock before our parents got home. Like those are things I remember about summer, like being a kid. Like
we rode our bikes all over town.
Everywhere, yeah. That was the only form of transportation. Then, as we got older, we had our buddies Wilbur and Gilbert. They lived in Glen Hollow, which was like West Bristol, like the town over. They lived in an apartment complex where they had a big old swimming pool. So we would ride our bikes all the way there to go hang out with those guys and go swim in their pool, like at their community pool. And then make sure we came back. But the crazy thing, we got I think right now, but we crossed like Route 13 and 413, like that intersection, which is like kind of a busy highway. It's not like a major highway like I-95, but it was a pretty busy intersection. We're riding our bikes, we're towels around our neck, and just zoom across. Dude, I mean, sometimes I sit at that intersection. I'm like, dude, we were nuts, dude. Dude, for real, like, just
That is
know,
crazy.
know
If you think
better. Just try to make things happen. We didn't know any better. Just want to have fun, go swim with our friends. Like,
yeah, no, absolutely. There's another one is like it's multifaceted, but the flea market, I think, of summertime too. We would like later, I guess, like when we were teenagers. Obviously, on Saturdays, I would join my dad in being a vendor and selling stuff at the flea market on Saturdays. The location's closed down by now, but it was right over in Tacony and in Jersey, and I just remember getting up 4 a.m, jumping in the truck. We pack, the night before Friday nights, we spent Friday nights packing up the truck. And Saturday mornings, around noon, 1-ish, Pop was ready to pack it up and come home. And I just remember it being hot as anything first of all, the whole day. And we'd pack our lunches and things like that and driving home, just like one of the most satisfying things was counting the money. Like my dad would give me the knot of money. Here, count it. Let's see what we profited. I mean, the drive was decent. It was at least 40 minutes. And by the time we had done counting it, I'd pass out, falling asleep. Also, we're home and think about that. And then Sunday mornings we'd go to Columbus before church. So we do all this stuff. We be at Columbus at 7 a.m, just zooming in and out of aisles, zooming in and out. At the time, my dad was collecting a lot of, different things, whether it was stuff for the Schwinn bikes, coins, or Matchbox cars, or die-cast metal cars, whatever. There was just a multitude of things that we just, he trained us to hey, make sure you're looking out for this, whatever I don't see, make sure you're also looking at it. And then here and there, we'd get random things, we'd buy food or drink down there. So he made it worth our while, but once again, an absolute adventure. And we did all that, came home tired, exhausted, but exciting because we got it was like a treasure hunt we just came from. And then you go to church, and then if you follow that, what we said earlier, then after church, we were doing picnics or whatever with our aunt and uncle, very adventurous, power pack filled days of the summer. And there was, I don't know what my dad's outlook on it was, but I'm thinking about it now. I'm dude, that'd have been exhausting. But full of energy, and you're just following the leader, so to speak.
Yeah, we never complained. We just followed suit with him. We just kept it moving. I know for sure my dang kids, they'd be I'm tired. I'm ready to go. And we were just up and at it. We would just keep on going and let the flow go.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't think we had a choice. If we were tapping out, he's you just have
to that's true.
You're going to do the whole thing.
What about, so we just passed 4th of July. Anything in particular that you guys all remember of holidays during the summertime, or birthdays, or anything specific that you celebrated or did?
I remember as a kid, when I had to have been 5, 6 years old, maybe. One year, Uncle D had come up from Virginia, and he came home with a boatload of fireworks. That year, 4th of July was nuts, to the point where there was these things that you hung on a wall or on a post. He hung this thing onto the telephone pole or the electric pole, hammered it on there, lit it up, each one, and it just spun around, and it was crazy colors spinning and spinning. Yeah, this dude, he had all types of fireworks, man. I remember that was one of the craziest fireworks as a kid that I remember, that we seen colors everywhere, even to the point where he would let us light some stuff up, and mommy's yelling and freaking out because we're 5, 6 years old, about to blow up a hand, but Uncle D's nah, they got it. And sure enough, just blowing stuff up, lighting stuff up. It was definitely one of the cool ones.
I know around here, in Bristol, around 4th of July, they always have the St. Mike's Fair. It's always around that same weekend or whatever. Yeah. I just remember going to St. Mike's Fair and either try to go there that on the 4th of July when they have it and sit and watch some of the fireworks there, or
right.
I know it's always and that was like one of the bigger fairs for us around here, other than like the Pennsylvania State Fair. But locally, like in town, that was one of like the summer things. Like you would go there, you can run into your friends. You would like catch up with people from town. So that always just reminded me of like summer like that. Oh, the 4th of July summer weekend.
Yeah, I just saw signs for that up. The signs are up.
Yeah,
the earlier in our childhood, down the wharf, they used to have it in Bristol, the fireworks. I remember people used to come to our house and we would walk all the way down and watch the fireworks by the river. And then as we got older, I think they had stopped it for a couple years, and then we kind of transitioned over to watching the fireworks at St. Mike's Fair. But I remember like Pop had a truck, and we sit like on the back of the bed of the truck and watching the fireworks. Had this awesome experience. That's cool because we just did that, right? We just did that with, like our kids, and, popping the roof off the Jeep and everyone hanging out of the Jeep and playing music. So I'm sure they'll have, similar memories of, of doing, kind of the same thing. But yeah, the fair, St. Mike's Fair, and even St. Anne's Fair was literally on our block where we grew up. And literally I could walk a minute up the street, not even 30 seconds up the street, and I was at a fair. And that was cool because that lasted for a week. And so we're always there, bobbing in and out. And huge thing with like the fairs around here. I don't know if they are, anymore. We don't really go to fairs or carnivals anymore, but well, not lately anyway. Was like getting a fish or winning a goldfish in one of the, the little ping pong games where you toss the ping pong into one of the little, fish bowls filled with water.
Or like a ring toss or something.
Yeah.
One would be like
fish in a plastic egg.
The thing would be how many fish you would bring home. Then another thing would be like how long the fish lasted.
Yeah.
I remember my one friend's like, "Yeah, I still got a fish from St. Mike's Fair." I'm like, "How?" It lasted 2 days.
Yeah, man, that's classic. Another thing was car shows. Bristol had a car show and bike shows. We had our well, actually it was a car show. We entered our bikes in the car show down Mill Street. I think Mill Street still has a variation of that car show to this day. But when we were, that was another random hot summer day, hot Saturday. We all, as we mentioned before, we all had old school Schwinn's, which is vintage bikes that we ended up restoring, obviously with the help, knowledge, and expertise of our dad. But they came out so nice that we put them into shows, and then it turned into something with winning trophies, and it was all this crazy thing. But I remember that experience where we would all meet at our house, and like one of Goose's friends, Mario, would like meet us at our house, and my cousin, I think the one year, like my cousin Manny and his dad met us at our house, and we'd ride the bikes down to the show, like made like a thing of it. It was like, I always remember that. Like we did it like as a group. Once again, another random adventure. Sure. Thinking about it, I'm like, dude, I was only like, I don't know, 10, 11 years old. Like had to be. So that's crazy when I think about that.
I think what I mean, obviously by the time this aired, it's too late, but that actually is this Saturday. So this Saturday they're having the Bristol, it's a boat show and a car show.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
What about music? Any old school music that you think of and it brings back summertime memories?
Well, when you send out the title of the episode, I told Gabe, I was like, "Yo, we should enter out to summertime with Fresh Prince and DJ Jazzy Jeff." Like that's right there. That's it. That's a theme song forever and ever.
Yeah,
I remember when I was thinking about this, it reminded me of back when me and Heck were in high school still, in the summer. Obviously, we did our own thing, but we would watch, what the heck show was that? It would be like on the beach MTV show. It would be like
Spring Break,
MTV Spring Break, yeah.
Yeah, MTV Spring Break. And that was like, that reminded me of summertime. It was like, oh man, look how cool when I get older.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. You just think, so anytime someone says music, I think of that because they were doing it like on the beach. And I remember one time going to like Seaside or something, and it was actually being aired.
Yeah.
And but anyway, so I think of music, and I think of like that, you know, it was like that VJ thing, and people were like getting all excited about, you know, the holiday or the summertime. Did you ever have, Goose, you already had said this, but anyone else want to chime in? Do you ever have a summertime job? Now, obviously, I'm talking about childhood. So when you're on summer break at some point, whether it was college or just right out of high school or middle school, did you do anything?
I was so one of my teachers at the school, he owned like a lawn service company, and he always needed help, like always needed like kids or whatever. He would always ask. So I remember one year I did it and I helped him out or whatever, and just get up early in the morning. He'd pick us up and then just drop us off at like a house. Oh, this mulch has to be done. You got to or dig out all these weeds, or here's the lawnmower, do this. And he would go to another site, another job. So like, I'm a kid, so I don't know. I'm just glad I'm making a couple of dollars. But he was doubling his business by just having me on board, but like, which was genius. But yeah, it was, to me, it was like it was an experience, because I'm like, all right, one day I'm in the house, I want to learn how to do this, and then the area that he had was like, there were nicer homes and stuff like that. So it was like, as a kid, I'm staring at these houses, I'm like, wow, like didn't know I was dream building at the time, but you know what I mean? I was, but it's like, yeah, I'm working. So my whole thing was like, I'm working, I'm making money, and I'm like, all right, I see a nice car. I'm like, man, I want to save up money to have that nice car one day, or hopefully I can save up my money to get a house like that. And I'm only 15, making like $5 an hour, $4 an hour. I don't know what it was, but like, if you got a job, you can buy the world, you know, at that age.
Heck yeah.
But yeah, no, it was definitely like a good time. It was just a summer thing. That was it. Like, it was that I'll never forget. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember my junior year, going into my senior year. I don't know, 16 years old. I don't know. Anyway, so it was my first like official job. I worked at a little deli that my buddy had a job at, or worked at already, and they were literally looking for some help. And I said, you know, for the summer, why not make an extra, you know, a few bucks? And I would ride my bike there. But dude, it was like in a deli where we made cheesesteaks. So obviously where we live, we're like 20 minutes north of Philly. So it's very traditional to make cheesesteaks. So I remember, and we call them hoagies up here, called, you know, whatever you want to call them, subs, heroes, whatever. And dude, I would go, first of all, I'm working in like 9,000 degree, grill, because you're making cheesesteaks, and it's poorly ventilated. Like, you know, I think the air working, and you know, working for 4 or 5 hours and going home smelling like onions and like, oh my gosh. And anyway, riding my bike back home, could not wait to take a shower. It felt like your face was melting off. And then it was like the first time I felt that feeling where I was missing out, because it was summer and all my boys and everyone else was like, they were doing something, whatever it was, during the day or when it was at night, because I worked, it closed at 8, so your shift was 2, I think 8:30 or 9. But luckily, if you look, you know, like right now it's 8:30 or a little 8:30, still some level of light. So I remember like riding home still with some, you know, light, go home, take a shower, like call my buddy Evan. Either he'd come over to my house or I'd go over there. More than likely, he'd come over to my house, because at that time, my brothers were already driving, and it was always like something was popping off, like at our house or whatever. Or they had their friends, even if it was like for an hour before they went out and did something. We were always wanted to be part of the action, and we'd just be sitting on the porch having like conversations or hanging out till like whatever 11, you know, midnight, whatever the curfew was for him or me. It was probably like around 11. But if everything was happening in my house, I could still stay out hanging out because I was home. And so I remember those long summer nights just listening to music on like a Discman. But Evan one of us had like a thing where instead of it was like a headphones, it kind of was like a converter to a speaker. This is like before, you know, wireless Bluetooth stuff. It was very small speaker, but like we had music, and, you know, we were trying to like, you know, get everyone's into breakdancing and trying to bring that thing back. Gosh. But I just remember just like the people just walking around town. We live in Bristol Borough, so there's a lot of action. There's a lot of stuff going on. Video store across the street's open till like 9, 10 o'clock. So there was constantly, and we lived on like a main street. So we got all the action. Like you just felt like it was always so busy, not city busy, but like busy enough to, just, there was a level of, I don't know, it sounds weird saying this, but there was a level of like excitement. I don't know what it was, but you're just wondering who you're going to run into that night. And then like in my mind, like I said, I didn't have to get up early to go to work because I had like an afternoon job. So we stay up as late as we want, wake up, it's noon, play basketball, whole ass go back home, do the same thing all over again. But to Goose's point, initially it was like to save up to get fresh, basically, buy new clothes, new sneaks, whatever. And it was just so funny. Again, that was only like, that felt like that was 20 summers in a row. And that was literally probably like only one, maybe summer, 2 summers at most that we did that. But it felt like a big chunk of my life. You guys remember that, hanging out on the porch?
Well, so the porch thing, I remember the porch thing, like it was in the summertime, we would hang out and we would just sit out there. It'll be just us. Next thing you know, somebody's walking by, they step up, they pull up to the fence, start talking. Next thing you know, somebody drives by, you hear they turn around and then they're coming back over to pull up to the fence, start hanging out with us, start talking. So it was always like a pile up, like you said, you sit outside and we knew everybody. So everybody would just pull in and just start talking.
Yeah, but you know what's so crazy? I always thought it was all like a coincidence. Now that we're older and we're reminiscing now, and I talk to these people, they're like, "Yo, we used to drive by your house on purpose to see if you guys were there because you guys always had a bunch of people there." Like in the drive. Lived in Levittown. He's like, he had his little like CRX, He's like, dude, I would drive down Pond Street to see if you guys were out there and just pull in because there was always like someone out there hanging out. And
again, mind you, there was no cell phones. There was no nothing. There was pagers, but you weren't paging someone to see if they were home. Like it was just like one of those things. You just drive by to see, and if it happened, it happened. That's all it was.
Like, neighborhood kids are walking by, they stop by or whatever. People on bikes or even adults, like they would stop by and like talk to our parents and like. And then there would be like a summer thing. Like it'd be like the beginning of the summer. We had like our parents walk by. Our parents' friend would walk by, talk to them because they haven't seen them since last summer. So like, oh, what's going on, blah blah. Yeah. And like this again, like you said, there was no cell phones for them to like chat. I mean, they had the house phone, but it wasn't like that kind of relationship. It was just like a hi and bye kind of thing. When you see each other, you have a conversation, reminisce, and just keep it moving.
Yeah, no, that was, and so we're talking like all of the 90s, basically. You could, if you're
all 90s.
State or like think back on an era, we're talking about the 90s.
Literally, it was from we moved in that house in 1989.
Straight through.
Yep.
Oh man, I wish, right? Don't you wish you could just go just for one night, just
go right back? Just go right back to it, man. Right back.
Dude, the neighbor probably hated us.
No, I thought about that too. Man, we're probably loud, rowdy, or unless they were just used to it. I don't know.
We were into cars.
Never really got the cops called on us or anything. Like we're never in trouble. No one ever said anything. They just let us go. We didn't bother anybody.
Yo, Pop had his '69 Chevelle. Every once in a while, he read that thing loud, open headers, and then Uncle his old Chevelle, and then we got old. Me and Heck got old enough. Like I was into the car clubs. We had like all these cars meeting up in the damn alleyway, piled up like 4 or 5 cars drive in this little narrow alleyway, just hanging out. Some of them had systems. Like Isaac had like loud ass systems, blaring this shit in the alleyway, and we're like, oh my gosh, like, dude, it's crazy. But like now, you just get the cops called. Like you couldn't do that. And honestly, I thought it really. Think about it now. I said, oh, it was obnoxious. Like,
yeah.
EP. Yep. All right, so switching gears back to current times. Is there anything you all look forward to every summer now, or looking forward to in the next month or two for the summer? Maybe something that you're doing with your family. for the summer?
So this year we're going to Wildwood this year, going in August, and we just rent like a hotel room, like big enough for 15 of us. And we'll go for like 3 days. And to me, it always felt like we were rushed. Like we would go and there was never enough time. So this year we planned ahead of time, and I think we're going for a little too long this time. We're going for 5 days, but 3 days is not enough. 5 days might be just the right amount. We'll see. It's the first time I'm going that long. So we rented something a little nicer than just a hotel room. We rented something, that has several rooms in there, so everyone fits comfortable and you're not basically laying on top of each other. So I'm looking forward to that. And the kids are like super excited about it. They keep talking about, Dad, when are we going to Wildwood? Mommy said we're going in a month. And I'm like, well, yeah, we're going in a month. It's not going to change from my answer to Mommy's answer. But yeah, they're like super excited. And it's like, they just can't wait to get out there. And that's all I just see. Just for them to be excited. They already have plans on the boardwalk. I got one already figuring out her clothes. She's 6 years old. What the heck does she need to be figuring out her clothes for? Like, just that excitement.
That's us. Like, that was the excitement we had. Like, we did the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, the clothes had like whatever outfits kind of ready in my head. Like, dude, that was the same thing.
Yeah. So that's pretty much me.
Super simple. The good thing about going, so we just came back and we did 4 days. The good thing about going for that long is you're gonna catch a good day or two weather-wise. Yeah. When you go for like the 1 or 2 days, it's hard because you're hoping we've gotten lucky. I gotta be honest, like in the past, we've definitely gotten lucky. You gotta nail it down. Then also, you guys know we all went to Wildwood all together, in recent years, probably like 5 years ago, where it rained the whole time.
Yeah, it stormed the entire weekend, right?
It stormed. Not even just rain. It was like storm.
To the point where we all, I remember, to the point where we all brought like shorts and T-shirts that we had. Goose came up later and we had him stop at our house to get us like all pants and sweatshirts and all. He brought us all extra clothes. That's how cold it was out there. It was crazy.
Yeah, that's awesome. But yeah, we just did the same thing. Like I said, it was just 4 days. But man, what's cool about that is, like the first thing initially for me at night, it was like, dang, I wish like I missed my brothers like now, like because everyone would be inside sleeping or whatever, and that's like our time to like now hang out, have smoke cigars and things like that. But outside of that, what was really prevalent in my mind was it was such a hyper focus on your own kids. Whereas like if you go with like multiple, I love going with multiple families. Like I said, there's something about that. But this, for this one particular time, it's such a hyper focus on like relaxing and celebrating our kids and doing what they wanted. But yeah, to your point, same thing. Like I remember like the morning we're leaving. So the night before or day before, I went golfing with Goose. Then Gabe came over. We ordered food. Like we went to the stores, went shopping, did all this, just hung out. And then it was like, all right, well, the next 4 days I'm going to be in Wildwood, and just like thinking like, as an adult for me, it was like not having to go to work or just being off from work. Yeah, I actually enjoy going to work or whatever, or working, I should say. It gives me something out of it. But being off after working so quote hard, it was nice. It was something to to look forward to on a relaxing note. But for them, they were already where Cade was already home for however many weeks. James, it was also I think first week or something like that of being home, so he was kind of fresh. And I remember just like the morning of, Cade like, are we leaving? Like, not yet. Oh, I'm finishing packing up the Jeep. Oh, he'll start crying like. And for him, it was like that. It was so funny because it was so simple, but he was so excited. And I remember feeling that when I was a kid, like just that excitement there, or the build up or whatever, and everything. We had a blast. We're also doing one thing I'm doing as an adult that didn't really do as a kid, was basically the same thing, but instead of the beach or the shore, I should say, it's the mountains. And so and it's like the experience is totally different, similar in a lot of aspects, but very different in others. And so that has been a very awesome, fun, unique transition to kind of enjoy both aspects of that. Oh, and another thing with the summer, to go back on the thing, was it, going to a Phillies game, whatever group we were going with, whatever, even if or if it was just like ourselves, I enjoy watching the Phillies. I actually, and my son James does too, and I think Kelly and Kate just do it because we're doing it, to be honest. But definitely got to make it to a Phillies. When I think of the summer, I think of the boys of summer. You think of Phillies. Well, baseball, and for us in particular, the Phillies. What about Goose and Gabe?
No, yeah. So for me, it's most recently, like in the past 6, probably 7 years now. So since I've been with Lauren, her family, they've been doing a Myrtle Beach trip every year for guys. And since I became a part of this family, it's part of my summer, the end of summer tradition with them. So we go in mid-August. Her parents, they rent this house. They go for 2 weeks. And we usually pick out like a decent weekend out of those 2 weeks. They go either the beginning of the weekend or the beginning of their time or the end of it. And then we always go for like 4 or 5 days, go from like a Thursday to Monday or Tuesday. That's what we've been looking forward to. So except for like the past year or so, past 2 years, I've missed COVID in 2019 COVID in 2020, that summer of COVID 2020, we didn't go. And then last year we didn't go because like it was like a few months up to our wedding. So we had to save up money and we couldn't do anything. We're going this August. We already got our tickets. So Ava comes along. So it's her parents get it for 2 weeks, get the house. They drive down there. So in the past, I've if anyone knows Myrtle Beach, it's loaded with golf courses like crazy. So I give my golf clubs to her parents, to her dad. He puts in his car because they drive down there, and then we fly down. So because it's just a short time, so it's an hour, 30-minute flight from Philly to Myrtle Beach. So we fly down there, and then I always try to get there as early as possible. Like whatever flight gets there at 10 a.m., we're there. And then Thursday, we this year we get there Thursday. Hopefully we'll have some tea time, me and her dad, on Friday or Saturday. And then the house they get is right on the beach. So we just walk out and you're on the beach. So like all day long, sunrise, sunset, we're on the beach. And then obviously we do our things in between, go out to dinner at night. But since I just caught on to this a few years ago, since we don't drive down there, it's all golf cart community. So I rent a golf cart for the whole weekend and we get around. Like me and Laura, we can run out, grab something, go to the store, or me, Laura, and Ava drive around, just look at houses or like whatever. It helps out instead of just staying in one spot because we don't have a car or waiting for everyone to get a ride to whatever. So that's like, as we go along, I'm learning more and more, but I can't wait for this summer. We're this August, we're going to Myrtle Beach.
Is there around so you can grab like random things that you need, or you have to, or they're further out?
No, so when we get there, obviously, like we do, like her parents are probably there, already a few days before us. So I'll jump in the golf cart or whatever, like in the mornings, just grab coffee or go to like the little gas station. There's what the heck's it called? I forget. It's a gas station, but it's almost like a super Wawa for us.
Oh, okay.
I smoke a cigar early in the morning and ride up to this gas station and get coffee. But you see all the old guys, they're hanging out at the coffee station, congregating, talking. They're just like, whatever. And I'm like, dude, this is the lifestyle I want to live, honestly, when I'm retired, though. Like, what they're doing is and that's their daily. Like, they're all summer long doing that, So we mix and mingle. So where we stay, it's called Myrtles Inlet. So it's like outside of actually Myrtle Beach. So it's a lot more local. It's not as touristy. So you actually get a chance to mingle and like interact with more people that live there all year long. But yeah, it's a dope. I love it. It's a dope section, dope area of Myrtle Beach. Yeah, like I said, we'll go. We'll get the golf carts. We'll like go to breakfast, jump in and go to breakfast. Like I said, or there's like we need something or whatever. Go to like a little small like little bodega that's out there, grab food or lunch meat. Just take a ride and come back. You don't have to turn your car on and lose a parking space. Just jump in. Too. Yeah, it's all.
That's awesome. Gabe, what about you?
More recently, I guess, well, because it's actually kind of always been a thing, but one of my other friends, her parents used to always have a family friend that had a place down in Cape May, which is like a little trailer community thing, like a mobile home that they always used to borrow. But like in the past couple of years, they sold that. So, but her parents actually got a place literally across the street in the same community, literally the trailer right across the way. So it was like they kind of now it's there, so they can go there. And her parents are there all the time, but now we have more access to it. So we've been doing like at least like in the beginning of summer, because her birthday is more in the beginning of summer, so we kind of go there for there, and her sister is like towards the end, so we kind of like bookend both times of like kind of doing things. We might go like once or twice, maybe like once at least for like maybe a holiday or something like down there. But it's like at least we have more access to all that stuff, and it's like it's easy. You have a place down there already. You have to worry about renting a hotel, because we used to do that too. Like we'll get like a hotel or like you said, like a little motel, whatever it is around near the boardwalk or something. But now even this place like in Cape May is not that far from like downtown Wildwood. There's a place like near the restaurants, even like there's a beach not that far away. So it's like it's right in the middle of a bunch of stuff you have access to, and it's like, you know, like I said, you have a place to go to and you crash for the night. It holds up to like 5 people anyway, so it was easy access. And I was like, that's been at least a little more easier to do that for the last couple of years now.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Love it. All right. So speaking of what Gabe just said, this is something that kind of we always talk about for the dream building. And one of the last questions before we wrap this thing up is, would you ever own a summer residence, whether it's a condo, home, and possibly where you would think it would be located if you did?
So for me,
I
I'm not like a beach person where I can sit on the beach all day long, whatever. But if I were to go like to get like that purchase a home like that, I would be me personally be more on the bay side of like where maybe by a boat, a jet ski or something. If not like down the shore on the bay side, my preference would be of the mountains on a lake where you can still do the same thing. Lake, have like a little boat, a little jet ski, nice house up the mountains. You can still do the same, enjoy the same thing in the summer. But like, I'm not like a beach like layout all day and like kind of I could do it maybe 1-2 days at a vacation, but like, I can't do it all day all the time. There's some people that love it, but I'm not. I like I don't know. It's not my. I'm too antsy for it.
Well, the Garden Mountains would be a little cooler too, right? Like you want to escape kind of like the extreme heat of it, or would that still be kind of?
Well, I mean, you think about it, Mountain House, you can go all year long, right?
Yeah.
For the summertime, but Mountain House you can use more so frequently than I'm just gonna say I would think you would use the Mountain House more frequently just by going up there in the wintertime and the summertime. You can use the house at any time. Whereas a beach, you think a beach house. I would personally prefer a beach house anyway. That's my goal, is to get a beach house. Just because it's just summertime that's my place to just get away.
Sure.
And even still, you could go there in the wintertime because obviously a beach doesn't close, but it's not the same vibe. Like it's not going to be the same atmosphere as it is from the spring to early fall. You know what I mean?
Or if you want to go down the beach and like the whole hustle and bustle off the boardwalk, yeah. But like I know people that live down the shore, and they live there all year long, and it's like they like the change of like the winter where it's peaceful for them. That's where they have kind of
right
area, and they have fun. Then for them, it's the outsiders are coming in and take over. So it's like
sure.
But
and when I say beach house, I'm not saying like a house on the beach. I'm talking about a house that's like a couple of blocks away from the beach.
Well, yeah.
Whereas like, you know what I mean? I wouldn't want to be on the riffraff where all the boardwalk and all that stuff is. I'm going to be like a couple blocks away, have my peace and quiet, and I'm not intermingling with the tourists, as to say, even though I would be a tourist as well, but it's still my place. You know what I mean? What's that?
Not if you own a residence, you wouldn't be a tourist.
Well, yeah, that's true.
But yeah, I think the same. I mean, same goes for all the above. Again, to Goose's initial point, when I met my wife back in '08, so we're going back a couple of years. Her family always went up to. Now I don't know how long they've been going, but since I've met them, they've always gone up to the mountains, winter and summer, which exposed me to, like, I've always, in the back of my mind, always associated with mountains and going up during winter time, you know, snowboarding, skiing, whatever. And then in high school, I went up a couple times. A couple of my buddies their parents owned houses up there. So we went all year round when I was later in high school, but that experience was different. We went to like paintballing and quads and a lot of off-roading stuff. But then like my wife's family, they stayed up in the mountains on a lake area that had like a man-made beach. So they had like to me it was like the best of both worlds. They could still, if you like the beach that much, they had literally a beach onto a lake where you could have like the boating activities, whatever. But then you're up the mountains and you have all the amenities that offers. And then same thing with I agree with Heck. I think for me anyway, I would, my first selection. Now my mind is changing little by little. I don't know, the Mountain House might take over. It's like watching those races like on the screen, like who's gonna, like, remember at the baseball game, at the Phillies game, like who's gonna win, and it's like screen, they just do it to keep people busy innings. But anyway, it's like kind of like, by the way, like, to be honest with you, my overall goal, I say this all the time, is to own both, own a beach house and a mountain house. But it would be, if it was a beach house, same thing, off, like away from the actual boardwalk, but maybe Crest, Cape May, I don't know, that area. We kind of, you're there and have literally living the beach life. Yeah, man, I don't know. There's something about the beach for me is that when I leave, I feel like this piece of like sadness. Like I feel like this, like, oh no, I don't want to go. Whereas when I'm at the mountains, I kind of feel that, but I just don't think I gave it enough time. But now I think I'm in between. I think I get that feeling, both ways. So that would be absolutely awesome. And to go to Gabe's point about his friends, it's owning it is nice because you always have a place, right? And heck, this is our experience where we're trying to book, or Goose, or everybody, like in the family, we're all trying to book together. It's nearly impossible to book everything together in the same location, the same time, same everything, or what works for us doesn't work for them, or they can go the one day that we can't, or whatever. But if you own the place, you kind of just go when you want, and so you kind of go when you want. So that's the benefit. Obviously, there's overhead on all of this that we're saying, but again, if we're dream building and talking about it, it's fun to talk about. It's exciting to know. Even like right now, I feel like, just imagine if you did own a beach property. Like right now, you could just, if you're off or whatever, you just go.
The best thing about that, though, where we live, like in Bucks County, like outside of Philadelphia, you can go north and an hour and a half. You're up the mountains. You can have a mountain house. Go south, and you can be hour or even have like 40 minutes. You can find it closer to Shore Point. But like where we live is like so amazing, so awesome, because you can go and be there in like a short period of time, where it doesn't have to be like a 3 or 4 hour journey just to go there. Like you can be either or place in like the hour and a half time.
Yep.
You can go west on a farm.
or be on a farm somewhere milking cows.
All right. That was a fun conversation. All right. We like to wrap things up with quotes. And the first one is by John Lubbock. Rest is not idleness, and to lie sometimes on the grass, under trees on a summer's day, listening to the murmur of the water or watching the clouds float across the sky is by no means a waste of time. I love it. And the second one by Tom Hodgkinson. Working is bad enough in the winter, but in the summer it can become completely intolerable. Stuck in airless offices, every fiber of our being seems to cry out for freedom. Summertime Part 2. In this episode, the crew dives into everything summer. We cover topics that range from traditions, holidays, vacations, childhood memories, being on summer breaks from school, and much more. We wrap the episode up with quotes from John Lubbock and Tom Hodgkinson.
Awesome. Guys, thanks again for joining us. The Rotated Views podcast was produced for self-development purposes. Huge shout out to our sponsors. This episode is brought to you by the Blessed Lifestyle brand. That is BL3SSED.com. Also sponsored by The Motivation Files Unleashed. This motivational mixtape will be your fuel for success. Available on all platforms. Guys, don't forget to visit the website, JimmyleeVelez.com. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Rotated Views. If you have any inquiries or questions, email us at info@JimmyleeVelez.com. On behalf of myself and the rest of the crew, we wish you massive success. Stay blessed.